I have one question, college basketball fans. Are you not entertained? Around a week ago, I released a video calling BYU the hottest team in the nation. And with that, I present to you another question. Was I wrong? If so, someone bring me something to prove it. Is this not the hottest team in the nation? Now, I do realize what I'm doing and saying here. At the time I'm recording this video, BYU is set to play Houston tomorrow. And a lot of you will be watching this video by the time this game is decided. Houston is a 7.5 point favorite to win this game, as they should be. I don't expect BYU to win this one. Honestly, the result of this one has zero weight on what I'm going to say in this video. The matchup predictor on ESPN has Houston at 80.5%, BYU at 19.4%. They couldn't even give them 19.5 to add up to 100. I don't know if they usually do that, but again, however this one plays out does not change a thing. Houston is the number 2 team in the country. It is very obvious to anybody that's been paying attention that BYU is a completely different team than they were when they matched up with Houston in early January. They went on the road and lost by 31. Now, with that said, if BYU doesn't perform better against Houston, that's not a fantastic sign. And am I completely writing off BYU? No, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? In this 9-game win streak, they weren't favored in at least 4 of these games, maybe 5 of them. I'm not sure what the line was when they went on the road against West Virginia. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't favored there. Even if they lose this, they still definitely deserve that 5 seed. You could consider them for a 4 seed, and no one would blink an eye. Let me remind you of something. Earlier in this season, not too long ago before this winning streak began, we were talking about this team's tournament chances in general. I remember going to the game against Arizona State in the Marriott Center. They won that game. After that, they dropped 3 straight. And I thought to myself, I said, oh, well, it's cooked. This team is cooked. Fast forward to the middle of March. Here we are. Earth to Jerry. They have now beat Iowa State twice in a row, capping off a 9-game win streak. And don't forget, BYU was a 3.5 point underdog coming into this game. Even if they were the favorite, they would have covered. And if you're Vegas, I get it. Yes, Iowa State had some key players out, Lipsey and Gilbert, who do a ton of work for them on both sides of the floor. But let's not act like Iowa State played like garbage. Curtis Jones, 31 points. I believe 22 of those came in the first half. 7 for 15 3-pointers. He couldn't miss. He could not miss. Iowa State played great. And again, very physical game this time. Just like last time. Some bad calls, some good calls going both ways. Also, BYU found a way to limit their turnovers. On the other end, Iowa State found a way to limit BYU's rebounding and get some more themselves. They both kind of eliminated the thing that allowed the other team to succeed in the game previous. Richie Saunders can score from anywhere on the court. Mawit Mag, that corner 3 is money for him, especially during this win streak, and he can guard anyone in the nation 1-4. Another great defender, Trey Stewart, who's been getting more minutes during this win streak. He can also shoot the lights out when he's on. Yes, Yegor Demon, everyone talks about how he's a lottery pick. He's actually the player I have the least to say about. Kei Bakeda is there on the boards, there on the blocks. He has great hands defensively. The guy who was really impressive distributing the ball today was Dallin Hall. He kept on finding the right guy, especially late in the game, and I don't think Kevin Young didn't know what he was doing by keeping him in the game to handle the ball late and sitting Demon. Trevin Knell did not miss a shot. That guy, everyone knows he's a sharpshooter, but he sharply shot. Mihailo Boskovic, when Iowa State was on a run and some of BYU's better shooters like Baker or Knell were getting cooked on the defensive end, they sent Boskovic in, and not only did he lock up on defense, causing loose balls, causing commotion, and then on the offensive end, he still was firing away at the threes. 3 for 7 from deep. To be honest, the more players you have on your team that are willing to confidently pull that shot, the better it is for March. And come on, man. You know what I'm talking about. 5 for 5 from the free throw line, 5 for 6 from the field. For most of the game, he was perfect. Both teams shot unbelievably. Some Big 12 Conference tournament records set this game, with 188 team combined points. Big 12 record. 31 total 3-pointers made. Both teams combined. Big 12 record. BYU made 18 3-pointers while still shooting 50% from behind the arc. Big 12 record. And most impressively, BYU was making their free throws. That hasn't been the case this season. Another difference from last game to this game between the Cyclones and the Cougars. Last game, the Cougars came out to a 21-point lead in the second half, and the Cyclones had to come back and force overtime. This time, it was back and forth. First, it was BYU with a 10-point lead, and then Iowa State came back, took a 10-point lead. BYU just take a look at this game flow. It wasn't even really neck and neck. It was one team getting a lead, the next team getting a lead. The lead you see for Iowa State in the middle there had a lot to do with Curtis Jones just catching fire. I can't stress enough. He wouldn't miss. But late game, credit to whatever you want, BYU got it done. And again, if you want to bring up that Iowa State was one or two men short on their lineup, great. This game doesn't have to mean everything. But if you know anything about BYU, they don't have Cannon Catchings, who went out early in the West Virginia game and hasn't been back since. I haven't received an update on him. I don't know if anyone has. I don't even know if he'll be back for the tournament. But last video, I said BYU has a very impressive 10-man rotation. With Catchings, it's an 11-man rotation in college basketball. On top of that, let me bring you some more numbers. BYU, 19-1 record when scoring over 80 points. Their only loss when hitting that figure came to Ole Miss earlier in the season. They're a completely different team now. This might go without saying, but they are 9-0 when scoring over 90. I'm trying not to hype up this team too much because I know BYU fans have this thing in their head where they think their team is cursed, especially when they start getting hype like this, which I'm not going to argue against. We saw how the football season went. That loss to Kansas was bizarre, to say the least. And then the loss to Arizona State hurt. It was a bit more logical. At least they ended on a high note. Anyway, not talking about football right now. Although I will start to talk about BYU football when the season comes around because they look like they're going to have just as, if not as impressive of a season coming up here. If you want to look way in the future, let's not forget who's coming to BYU next year. Scale back, scaling back, scaling back. You with me? You with me? You with me? Good. Glad you're here. I just want to say I'm excited to see what this team can do in March, no matter how this game against Houston goes. That's about it. My name is Jerry, and I hope you have a Jerry good day. Subscribe to Point Zero Sports. Actually, do it.